Because it wasn't just that she deflected, it was how she deflected. That made it so embarrassing, for she was so obnoxious and disruptive that she had to be repeatedly, if gently, blocked by Jim Jordan from shouting over her questioners, and that is how it was covered. I mean, Jim Jordan is the voice of reason. You kind of know things are going off the rails. Even Pam Bondi's typical cheerleaders tried to. A lot of people for these hearings, as I was just saying it, Chris, I have watched hundreds of them, and this one is well pretty easy to analyze. It's not a fool of herself. Because over the course of those 5 hours, Attorney General Pam Bondi made an absolute fool of herself, evading questions, childlessly shouting down lawmakers, talking back, and even resorting to name-calling. Evading questions, childlessly shouting down lawmakers, I have ever seen. But why just read you the reviews? I just wanted to start there when I can take you to the actual show. Here's Pam Bondi being asked a very simple question about why the Justice Department has not brought new charges against anyone in the Epstein file. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating? This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. Don't know why you're laughing. I mean, I don't know why more people weren't laughing in exasperation at the absurdity of her answer. I mean, Pam Bondi was asked why she hadn't investigated any of Epstein's co-conspirators. And she basically said, because the Dow is over 50,000. I mean, I guess her argument is, do we really want our Justice Department investigating an elite cabal of pedophiles at a time when their stock portfolios are doing so well? Yes, this is the Attorney General of the United States, though. I mean, she's a person that is supposed to make big, important, sober, she is supposed to be independent, she is supposed to be independent of the president. Who she worshipped through the course of a 5-hour hearing, publicly, out she was supposed to be independent of politics in general. But for most of this hearing, it felt like Pam Bondi was not really acting as the Attorney General, and more like she was auditioning for the role of a Trump campaign spokesperson. I mean, here she was responding to a comment about her office's handling of the killings of U.S. citizens Renee Good and Alex Preddy. The DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides, so I really think that is a disgraceful approach to the homicides of American citizens, and it really does nothing to bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back. General Lee yields back. May I answer? Attorney General can respond. I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. DOJ isn't collaborating with local law enforcement to investigate the death of American citizens. That was in the question. It's an important thing to ask. And Pam Bondi's response is, Donald Trump is the greatest president in American history, and did I mention the Dow, which remains perhaps one of the most absurd moments of the hearing. It's like she was kind of a social media bot of sorts, replying with random non sequiturs and AI-generated images of Donald Trump with a six-pack, or the verbal version of "be able to make sure of that." Can you imagine Merrick Garland answering a question like that? Hell, I mean, can you imagine Bill Barr answering a question like that? And the thing is, it kept going like that over and over and over. Every time she was asked a serious question about something within her job description, she evaded either by attacking the questioner or by really over-the-top glorifying her boss. Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein? This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. Okay, to state the obvious, but we've got to restate it sometimes, the question of whether or not the current sitting president of the United States attended any parties with a sexual predator where underage girls were present is not ridiculous at all. I think everybody wants to know the answer to that. I think it was a basic answer. She could have just said no, if she knew the answer was no. And it wasn't just her refusal to provide a basic answer, that was certainly part of it. When given the opportunity to honor the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, WHO were literally right behind her in that hearing room, she refused. To the survivors in the room. If you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice is. Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer it. That's not accurate, Mr. Chairman, because she doesn't like the answer, so Mr. Chairman, why I have asked and she asked Merrick Garland this. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics. The time belongs to the general lady. The gentle lady has 17 seconds. Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just say to come out of that exchange, including the fact that Pam Bondi, if you know this, refused to even look at Epstein's survivors. And that says a lot. It's not the only shocking thing to come out of that exchange. As Bondi was going back and forth with Congresswoman Jayapal, a photographer in the room snapped this photo of the binder in front of Pam Bondi. And if you zoom in, and we're going to do that for you, and rotate that image to take a closer look, you can clearly see that the page is labeled Jayapal Premila's search history. It appears to list all of the Epstein files that Congresswoman Jayapal privately viewed on the Justice Department's computers, where lawmakers can view the unredacted versions of the files. Now, after that image became public, Congresswoman Jayapal told MSNOW's tireless, intrepid reporter Ali Vitali, quote, "It's totally inappropriate. Is this the whole reason they opened the file is up to us 2 days early so they could essentially surveil members to see what we were going to ask her about? Good question. I mean, that was essentially an oppo document in the binder of the Attorney General, and I hope others start asking it. I mean, throughout the entire hearing, Bondi made it clear that her goal was to basically not answer questions, of course, but fight with every Democratic member of the committee no matter what their questions were. At one point, Congressman when Becca Balint got up and walked out of the hearing over Bondi's attacks. Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors, do the right thing. I yield back. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't hear, didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was weak sauce. And also I want the record to reflect that, you know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning. Oh, do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust. You heard that correctly. Yes, Congresswoman Becca Balint's grandfather died in the Holocaust, and Pam Bondi just accused her of being anti-Semitic instead of agreeing to meet with Epstein survivors. That's what just happened there. And again, these weren't just isolated incidents. And what I would consider perhaps the clearest sign that she was either completely out of her depth or unprepared with no good answers or a combination, her go-to move during the hearing was to repeatedly behave like some sort of over-caffeinated high school mean girl. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. You're a failed politician. Not a complicated question. Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged. Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? You're so obsessed with, you don't, do you? I'm going to teach you the rules again. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump? All of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump, nothing about helping crime in her district. She's not even worth getting into the details. Excuse me, I'm going to answer the question. Answer my question. No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question. I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started. You don't tell me anything. Yeah, oh, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate. He's a lawyer. Not even a lawyer. You don't get a reclaim time when you don't. Because this is bigger than Watergate. When I don't answer the question the way you want. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite. But we're going to move back to you. I bet we are. Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. The whole thing is given a grown-up version of Regina George from Mean Girls. You know who I'm talking about. Now, for Pam Bondi, this entire hearing was about putting on a show, obviously. So her boss could see her yelling at lawmakers he doesn't like. That's the whole thing. But Donald Trump was not the only one watching this hearing. I mean, whether it's the Epstein files or the killing of American citizens in Minneapolis. The entire country has taken an interest in what this Department of Justice is doing. We know this. They're paying attention, and if they tuned into this hearing, they saw an administration making a mockery of their priorities. They saw a Department of Justice that only cares about one person, one man sitting in the White House. Well, at the same time, they saw responsible lawmakers ask tough questions and center the people who really matter in all of this.